Revisiting the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's predicament and the fatigue of hierarchical order. The timeless struggle in the Bhagavad Gita. As we navigate the complexities of contemporary conflicts, it is an opportune moment to revisit the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna's dilemma on the battlefield of Kurukshetra resonates profoundly with our current global situation. The hierarchical order of his time, embodied by the Kuru dynasty, is in a state of collapse, riddled with corruption, greed, and moral decay. These symptoms are not the cause of the collapse, but indicators of a fatigued system, one that can no longer sustain its own structure and order. Arjuna, faced with the prospect of fighting his own kin, experiences deep moral conflict. His compassion and hesitation are emblematic of the human capacity for empathy and love, even amidst the most dire circumstances. This internal conflict highlights the inherent tension between our human nature and the larger, often harsh movements of history and cosmic law. The collapse of hierarchical systems. In any era, hierarchical systems can only persist as long as they effectively manage the energies within them. When these systems begin to fatigue, signs of decay emerge: corruption, greed, and a breakdown of ethical standards. These are not the root causes, but rather symptoms of the underlying exhaustion of the system itself. Just as Arjuna sees the moral collapse of the Kuru dynasty, we witness similar patterns in our own time. When a hierarchical system reaches its limits, it can no longer maintain the order it once imposed. The Bhagavad Gita, set against the backdrop of a collapsing hierarchy, provides a profound reflection on the nature of such systemic fatigue. Arjuna's crisis is not merely personal, it reflects the larger breakdown of an entire societal order that has exhausted its capacity to maintain stability and justice. Krishna, as the embodiment of fairness. Krishna, Arjuna's charioteer and guide, represents not only the divine, but also an aspect of the divine that aligns with fairness. He urges Arjuna to see beyond the immediate conflict and to understand the larger cosmic order. Fairness, as represented by Krishna, is not concerned with preserving the old hierarchical structures. Instead, it represents the inevitable movement towards equilibrium and balance, a force that ensures that no order, no matter how entrenched, can resist the natural progression towards fairness. In this context, Krishna's counsel to Arjuna is not just about the ethics of war, but about understanding his role within the larger cosmic play. Arjuna's duty is not to uphold the crumbling hierarchical order, but to act in accordance with his own dharma, his own duty as a warrior, which ultimately serves the greater good. The human condition. Amidst changing orders, Arjuna's struggle reflects a universal human experience. In times of great change, when old orders are disintegrating and new ones have yet to emerge, individuals often find themselves caught in the tumult. The Gita reminds us that our natural state is one of compassion, kindness, and love, qualities that are often overshadowed by the dominating forces of hierarchical and ideological systems. Krishna's message to Arjuna is clear. Do not become attached to the transient aspects of life, including the outcomes of the conflict, and even one's own physical existence. This detachment is not indifference, but a profound recognition of the larger reality. It is a call to fulfill one's duty without attachment to success or failure, a lesson that is as relevant today as it was in Arjuna's time. The mission of love in a time of war. Despite the grim setting of the battlefield, the Bhagavad Gita is ultimately a discourse on love and the human role within the divine order. Arjuna, as a divine manifestation, is tasked with discovering and reporting on love, even amidst the chaos of war. This mission transcends the specific age or context in which one is born. Whether in times of peace or conflict, the fundamental human mission remains the same: to realize and express love in all circumstances. The setting of war in the Gita is not incidental but central to its message. It underscores the reality that love and divinity are not confined to peaceful, serene settings, but are fully present and operative even in the most challenging and painful circumstances. Krishna's teachings to Arjuna are a reminder that the divine mission continues regardless of external conditions, and that true understanding requires us to see beyond the immediate turmoil to the deeper truths at play. The relevance of the Gita today. For students and seekers today, the Bhagavad Gita offers a lens through which to view the current global upheavals. It teaches that hierarchical systems, no matter how stable they seem, will eventually fatigue and collapse. The ensuing conflict and chaos are not signs of failure, but necessary steps in the cosmic process of rebalancing and renewal. As we confront the realities of a world in flux, the Gita encourages us to look beyond the surface and to recognize the deeper forces at work. It calls us to remain steadfast in our own Dharma, to act with compassion and courage, and to understand that even in the midst of destruction, the mission of love and the realization of the divine are always within reach. In these times of change, revisiting the Bhagavad Gita can provide clarity and perspective, reminding us that while hierarchical orders may rise and fall, the underlying principles of fairness, duty, and love endure.